cover at least three things today, and that is what is Teams and what's the difference between Teams and the Google Drive that we currently use as a committee. So currently, as a committee, we are using Google Drive, which is a cloud storage tool where we're able to share files. I, as the owner, because it's my personal Google Drive account, I as the owner am able to provide access to anyone I choose, regardless of what your email address. You don't have to have a Gmail account to have that, but I give you that permission to have it. And there's a couple of advantages. One, surely it's easy to use. We have the ability to, collaborate and make updates to files right as a Google document. You don't necessarily have to download it, make it a spreadsheet, and upload it back. You can upload, or you can make changes live to it. But a couple of risks associated with that is that it is my personal account, and I do have to be cognizant of cleaning out space, particularly in my emails, because it's all one big storage allotment. So if my emails get too heavy with a lot of attachments, and then it affects the way we can store files on Google. The second thing, and probably the most important, is that it's not as secure as it should be. And the reason why the board chose earlier this year to move toward a secure Microsoft 365 environment is because that is secure in their domain. And while there are always risks associated with any site and with any file storage, it's more secure than my Google account is. I mean, it's as secure as my password is good and strong. So that's, not that I don't think that hackers are very interested in our information, but still, we have a duty to the friends that we serve and all that, to protect their information as best we can. So we're going to move to that team site, that Microsoft 365 site, for security reasons, if nothing else.
Okay.
What Teams is a Microsoft. Look at it as a Microsoft version of a Google Drive. It is a SharePoint cloud type of technology where you're storing things not on anyone's laptop or PC, but in the cloud and big servers and giant buildings, in a secure place somewhere. Again, you can collaborate. Again, you can share files. You can share links instead of having to send attachments, just like we do with Google. And it's also a meeting space. Google has the same thing, Google Meet, but we don't use that. So we're meeting via Zoom right now, ironically, to do Teams training, but in Teams, we could meet with that Teams meeting tool the same as we could with Zoom. And that's not a big deal which one we use. We may eventually move to Teams. Some people outside the entity domain, like the svdphouston.org, might have a hard time getting into Teams, more so than they would Zoom, but we'll address that later. But that's what it is. It's a way to put a place to put your files. It's a place to share files. You can do real-time updates on the same files with multiple people, and it's all saved right there. Plus, it's also a meeting tool, like what we're doing with Zoom. This is what our Teams setup looks like for the society at the archdiocese level. So here's it's called Teams. We'll show you how to get there, but this is what the page looks like. And you can see it has a Google Drive look to it, right? It's got an organization of folders that you can click into, and it tells you who last edited it and what day and all that, just like it does on the Google Drive. Okay. Now, let me back up one, because if you look at the entire site over here, these are all the main folders that is arranged for the board. So there's the board book, a working folder. It's basically a folder for all the committees. So there's CMS, conference assessments, the district presidents, finance, formation, getting ahead, growth, and underserved communities. And I'm not sure I have access to everything, but people have
Mhm.
different access to the
Sure.
things they're supposed to have access to. And so here's ours, formation committee is what we would click into. When you click on it, you get what looks like a bit of a white space, but
Mhm.
it automatically defaults to post. So
Mhm.
actually, you know, you can do real-time chats in this. If as long as you're both in teams, everybody's in teams, you can do real-time chats as almost like a text message. But
Okay.
what we want to look at is this area files. So you
Okay.
click on files, and then these are all the folders that either I or Ann have created over time since it's been there. So you can see, you know, board and national reports, committee, etc. Get fed, leadership, just like Google. But actually, I think it has better flexibility than Google. Let's say that we went to planning and you clicked on this 2024 formation calendar. When that opens, it looks like a spreadsheet, and you can update it like a spreadsheet. Same thing with Word documents. You could go right into this, you know, any of these cells and just type in, and it'll save it right there. What I like about using Teams versus Google is if I really, there are a few limitations that that doing this form has versus if you actually bring it into your desktop app like Excel or Word. You get all the flexibility of it. And the way you do that is very simple, because right now I'm just looking at the live active file in the Teams folder. But let's say I want to open it in Excel. I would go up here to this editing button and I would open in Excel. And it's going to prompt me, yes, I want to open Excel. And so now it's opening my desktop app Excel as opposed to looking at it in the Teams folder. So again, it can, you'll have a little more functionality and flexibility if you're using the actual app versus the live version on the site. When you make updates here in the Excel version, you're still making updates to the true file. So I could type something in here and I don't have to save it because you'll see auto save is on because it's automatically on. It'll just, I can close it and be done with it. So I don't have to worry about saving it. I don't have to download it, make changes, save it, and re-upload it. I am making changes to the actual source file. So if you're logging in for the first time, it's going to make you do what's called authenticate. And on your phone, whether you have an Apple phone or a Samsung phone, there is an app that you'll get from your app store, and it's called Authenticator. And I'm gonna hold up my phone, and you can see it's the one right here. It looks like that. Yeah. Okay, one on the next to my finger, and it's a very common thing. If you've ever had to do log in, sometimes insurance sites require this, sometimes financial services sites require this. They call this multi-factor authentication. And what it's doing is not only your password that you've been assigned, but also it'll give you a code. You know how some places will say, I'm going to text you a code, you got to use that. That's multi-factor authentication. This is being authenticated by use of this app. So what would happen here, let's say if it was prompting me for a code, then I'm going to open this app. And if you see this second line right here, if there's not a glare, that's the St. Vincent de Paul. I have other apps that it looks at too. That's a 6-digit code. I got like 30 seconds, and I would enter it on the screen there, and then would let me go through to log in. So it's going to be this 801. So I'm going to do 801 346. Verify. Stay signed in. I'll say yes. And there I am. Yep.
Okay.
Now this is, Outlook and Teams are both Microsoft programs, products. So that it's all integrated as well as the calendar. So you're seeing my inbox of my SVDP Houston email right here over in this folders. And once you get in there, Becky, you'll have that as well. Along the side here, I can do a couple other things, like here's the calendar icon. So whenever I send you all calendar invites like this one, I send from this calendar, not my Apple phone, not my work Outlook, not my personal, it's this one. And that's why I send it to myself too, to get it on all of my other calendars.
Yeah.
So this is where, all this type of planning is done. Secondly, and this is the most important thing, is you'll log in here and you'll default to, your Outlook here, and you think, well, where's Teams? Where, how do I get to Teams? You see this little, I don't know what these are called, but 9 dots up here. These are all other apps, app launcher. So you would click that and then go to this Teams right here. So here we are back at Teams, and again, you got the whole folder structure that we looked at. So what you see over here, here's back to my SVDP email inbox. But you see down here, we have this Ask Ozanam shared box, okay? So you may find when you're in Outlook like this, that it's collapsed, you see, because you don't see anything on it. You just click on it and expand it. And then click on the inbox.